All right. So, welcome. I'm glad y'all can join me again. And for those that tune in after, the experience of video recording these things has been quite the learning experience, but I've really enjoyed it. And I hope it's been grounding and centering for you. And I hope that it has kind of evoked a little bit of thought into your spiritual growth. We'll have some prayers and blessings in a little bit. And at that time, anyone is welcome to throw some out there or request some. You can always PM me and I will read them if you wish. All right. Sheath konev, nev kodoven, doven phonim, nertikal an forlan. We gather for peace, we gather for love, we gather for connection. In this virtual space, we invite the gods to join us. May our minds be clear and our ears sharp and our hearts open to their presence. Hail and be welcome. And in this space, we invite the spirits that walk with us, spirits of land and place, spirits of our homes and hearth. Hail and be welcome. And in this space, we invite the ancestors, those that walked before us, who guide us and protect us. Hail and be welcome. We pray for peace. We pray for the innocent, the civilians, those caught in the middle. We pray for the women and the children, and we pray for the men. We pray for justice, for the blood spilt because of greed, for the harms caused because of the desire for power, and for the cruel and unjustified ending of life. We pray for justice. And we ask the gods, protect the mothers, the daughters, the sisters, the fathers, the sons, and brothers. Protect those that fight against this injustice, and for comfort for those whose homes have been lost, those who struggle to fill their bellies, and those who have lost loved ones, friends, and community. And we pray for their cries. We pray that their cries fall on the ears of those that can make a difference. May we find the generosity to aid where we can. May we open our doors and our hearts to their plight. And may we find the strength to continue to endure as we face an onslaught of divisiveness, anger, hatred, and cruelty. May we find the strength to be the tools of peace. Sheath ben Shiana, may it be 9 times eternal. Something I've noticed recently is there's a number of posts on Instagram and Facebook and blog posts and the like, and they encourage busy people to take just a few moments, even like 30 seconds, 2 minutes to stop and ground and breathe. And I fully encourage this. This is not disparaging that. For most living beings, our growth has to start with some fundamentals: nutritious food and water, sunlight, clean soil and air. Without these, things can't really grow well. Growth is stunted and can even cease and die. Luckily for us, our spiritual growth can be supplemented long after we've started. We don't need to start right off with, good food and all that stuff. We can supplement when we need. But the thing I want to talk about is these 30 second to 5-minute breaks as the only source of spiritual nourishment. it's not going to be the best practice. These breaks are intended to be just that, breaks, like a good stretch after sitting too long or after physical activity. Taking a few minutes to breathe can help the stress, and it can help clear your mind, calm and relax you. But it can't take the place of regular spiritual practice, such as devotional work or study, or even just regular meditation. Um, and I know time is hard. I used to get mad when people would tell me, if it's important, you'll find time. And it's kind of true, but it's also definitely a bit of privilege at times. Perhaps someone who's never been in full survival mode, or working, or someone who's only worked one job at normal hours. I know sometimes there is no time, no matter how important something is. I remember the early days of motherhood when I was taking care of my 2-year-old and my newborn. And I was so tired some days. Like, honestly, if I tried to fit anything into my day other than a nap, I probably would have broken down crying. I probably did break down crying at times. Um, when I was homeschooling all 3 of my kids and taking 2 different certification programs, I really thought I was gonna go insane trying to find time. Um, it was just, the time just wasn't there, no matter how important something was. It really was the 5-minute stopping and breathing for a couple of minutes and feeling that sort of refreshed feeling. But at the same time, I could feel that my spirituality and my growth was sort of not growing. It was rather stagnant. What did keep me going was my weekly fires and going into the woods, maybe once every 2 weeks, going hiking, away from the computer and away from my planner and the books and all the obligations that I had to get away from, so that I could truly ground again, kind of enough to get me through future weeks. Um, at the time when I was a new mom, using a few moments just to breathe and ground would have been really helpful. And it's not something I was aware of back then. I was just surviving at that point. Though luckily, I had a supportive and caring partner. So eventually, it got better. At some point, I knew as my kids grew, I had to make time. It was time again. Like, I had the time, so I could make the time and I could fit it into my schedule. I could fit it into my day because it was important. And now I had time again. But it's important to try and make that time when you can again, because it's not healthy to be in this sort of survival mode for a long period. Um, it's damaging to you physically and spiritually and even mentally and psychologically. Um, and my family and I have currently been watching the show called Alone, and it's like a survival show where people go out into the woods and they live alone for a certain amount of time, as long as they can, and try to survive with nothing. They have like 10 items that they're allowed. And um, I kind of think of the 5-minute breaks as kind of, they get food, they catch food, like sometimes it seems once every 2 weeks, and that's all they're eating nothing for days. And I kind of feel that's what our 5-minute spiritual grounding can be, is like sometimes when you're in survival mode, that's what's going to keep you going. But eventually it's not going to do as much good if you're only relying on these quick, short little sessions that aren't really going deeper. It's kind of washing away the surface tension and stress, but you're building within you a sort of a kind of a buildup of stress, and it's in your bones, it's in your muscles. And the longer that you can only get rid of the surface stress, it's the deeper it's going to go into your body, and you're going to feel it. So sometimes we have to learn to compromise. You can't, maybe you can't find something to do every day other than those, 5-minute breathing sessions. But maybe you can make it weekly. This is where my weekly fires came really in handy in 2020 and 2021. From like April to, I want to say, October, I was having a fire every weekend as long as there was no rain. And even if there was rain, sometimes I would just make it a day early and just kind of rearrange my evening schedule. But maybe you need bi-weekly. Maybe it's something once a month. Maybe you can do something called, what we call, and when I'm, but artists sometimes call it like an art date, where you go out and you find inspiration. Sometimes you treat yourself. You go to a cafe alone and you just kind of look at the world, or you can go on a hike. And it's kind of the same. You can go on a spiritual date with yourself, where you can just kind of slip out for an hour on the weekend or a day and go hiking, or just find some sort of spiritual inspiration. Um, or maybe it's just, you know, once a once a month, you're going to sit down for 20 minutes. This whole 20 minutes is just for me to sit and relax and calm my mind, deep breathe, and touch the gods, or allow them to touch me, and find a sort of peace. Um, Maybe it's learning to do active meditation. Life is hard. You've worked all day and you've had to clean up the house a bit. You've taken care of your kids and your pets. You've washed your dishes. Learn to meditate while doing your dishes. I still do this on the rare occasions that I'm on dishes duty, because I hate the dishes. But when I have to do the dishes, it's become a very meditative mind, almost involuntary now, where I turn on the water and I start getting the water sudsy, and it sort of triggers this sort of, and then my mind just clears, and I'm washing the dishes and I'm rinsing the dishes. But my headspace is, while I'm very aware of everything going around me, I'm in touch with my own thoughts, and I'm watching my thoughts come and pass, and I'm noting them. And I've gotten epiphanies and I've gotten messages, because I'm opening myself up to with an active meditation, and it's very, very helpful. um and it could be just an easy act of adding intention into your schedule in life. You work all day and you only get a short lunch break. Maybe make that your time and eat with intention. Eat each bite savored, gratitude expressed for the meal and every meal, for the time and the daily relationship building. When we go to the Morgan's call, and sometimes a lot of times when we're talking to other Morrigan priestesses of this community, we talk a lot about coffee with the Morrigan. And for some people it looks a little bit elaborate, where they can do some devotionals by their altar, and then they sit with their coffee and they talk to the Morrigan. That is intentional work, intentional time. It might not even have to be that elaborate. It can be just grabbing a coffee. I don't have a mug, and just, charging it a little bit, and thanks, Morgan, for all that you've done. My heart and my soul is open to you. I am listening. That kind of thing. It can be that short. It'll turn longer. Like, especially if you're going to carry it with you, it's going to last as long as as long as you're drinking that coffee. Maybe some people down coffee, and I'm speaking from, it can probably take me an hour sometimes to finish my coffee, because I sip on it all morning long. If, I've got a little heating plate, and, I'm working and I'm drinking my coffee, but every sip is reminding me of, the conversation I had just a few minutes ago. Or if I'm still drinking it an hour later, it's still reminding me of the conversation. And sometimes things come back to that thing we were talking about like an hour ago, what about that? It carries on. Um, I'm sure you shower. You gods don't care if you're naked. Sit down, have a conversation in the shower. It can work. Um, it's maybe awkward at first. It maybe was the first time I decided I was going to have a conversation with God because I needed to talk with someone in the shower, but it's okay. Um, and this doesn't even have to be with deity related stuff. It could be spiritual. It could be your magical life. Are you going to the bathroom? Poop magic. My friend Gina would tell you poop magic. I'm not even joking. You're literally just flushing shit out of your life. Use the time to do it. Your spirituality will remain stagnant if you do nothing. Spirituality is not a passive process. Much like learning a new skill or studying in university or college, you have to study and create your space to grow. It's not as hard or time consuming if you're creative, reading, reflecting, talking to the gods, sitting quietly, opening yourself to them, talking to your higher self or the universe. And even the simple act of gratitude can help. One of my favorite things I like to do in my bullet journal is to have a gratitude spread. It doesn't seem like much, but it really is. And the more you express your gratitude to the universe, the more you're going to get back. Go into nature. I think going into nature is something that defines most pagans. Because it's a form of invitation to spiritual enrichment. Our nature is literally our church sometimes. And of course, that goes back to last week's talk of self-care. Spiritual growth, spiritual nourishment is also a part of self-care. And while short bursts of breathing and quick grounding can be really helpful in sort of maintenance and sustenance, you need more in order to help to truly grow. And if you aren't in survival mode, and your spirituality is important, put forth the time it deserves. If you are in survival mode, ask for help. Partner, your friends, family, community, someone out there cares. I care. Email me and we can talk. We can get on Zoom. We can DM each other. We can email each other. I regularly talk to my friends throughout the day, sometimes through email and sometimes through just a chat program. And it can be broken down where, I've said something and they'll answer me 2 hours later, sometimes a day later, sometimes longer, sometimes never. Sometimes it was just a stupid meme and doesn't need a response. We both know we appreciated it and it lifted us up, or at least just made us laugh. And that's just how things are these days. It's kind of no longer that perfect exchange of I talk, you talk together at the same time, at the same place, or on the phone. We're scattered across the world, our jobs and our life asking more and more of us, even though it shouldn't. That's a whole other thing to talk about. For our sanity, there's a time when we need to say, let's just try something in a new way. And that's what are these new, this is what technology is. It might not seem as personal anymore to just exchange emails and talk over emails because it's on a computer screen, but it really is just the equivalent of a good old pen pal letter, which I've been recently doing, and that's a wonderful thing. Just if you can, make sure you let your friends know that if they're feeling this way, you're there for them. And I bet you anything, it'll be reciprocated amongst your closest friends. One of the most overlooked spiritual moments are the ones that we share together. So that's my soapbox for the week. I have a couple of prayers. Send prayers of support to the people of Ukraine and anywhere else affected by violence and war. I send a prayer for those dealing with grief. I say a prayer for those who have passed. I pray for those troubled in their hearts, spirits, and life. May you find the answers and the strength and peace you seek. For my friends, family, and those within my sphere, if you accepted my prayer for blessings and love, I send. And for a friend, Nicole, I send healing energy as she recovers from 2 different surgeries recently. May the gods in spirit help you heal. May you have all the healing energy that you need. If anybody has anything else to add, feel free to unmute and add in. All right, let's go into our blessing and meditation. It's a very simple one this week. Really been called towards simplicity the last couple of weeks, really. So just close your eyes and focus on your breath. Just breathe in and out slowly as long as you're comfortable. These past few weeks, months, and probably years have been hard. They've brought out our fears, anxieties, anger, and sadness. For some of us, grief. Spring is upon us, and with it, renewal and growth. The wheel ever turns, each season a purpose. Go through your body with each breath, starting with your head. Breathe in and feel for any tension and stagnant energy within it. As you breathe out, release the tension and stagnation. If you need to focus on an area longer, do so. And if you are uncomfortable, relax and just focus on your breath rather than your body. Go down your neck and your shoulders, and then down your arms. Focus on your chest, moving down slowly with each breath into your stomach and lower belly. Go to your hips and down your legs until you reach your feet and toes. When you feel completely relaxed, let your mind trace over your body and then dissolve into the darkness. Your body and your mind are now floating within liminal space. It is a safe space, warm and filled with a feeling of calmness and comfort. Sometimes it's just good to sit in this space, our minds cleared, our hearts open. If your thoughts begin to stray, note them and let them pass. It is here in this warm, safe space that we are able to hear clearly the voices of our ancestors, the whispers of the spirits and the voice of the gods. It might be a stirring in your heart, a vibration in your spirit. It might be words, images, feelings. Trust in the process. And if you hear nothing, don't take that as a rejection. It might be that nothing needs to be spoken at this time. You are floating within liminal space, relaxed. It is calm and comforting. Feel as the darkness around you begins to trace along your body as it begins to take form once more. Feel your breath in your chest and the flow of blood that traverses along the miracle that is your body. Feel your feet and legs, hips and torso, belly and chest, up to your arms and shoulders, your neck and head. Breathe again, and then feel your fingers and toes wiggling. You are back, safe and sound and relaxed. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowering air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the infinite peace to you. It's a Gaelic blessing by John Rutter. Hope y'all can hear my dog. Open your eyes and ground a little. Drink something. It's probably some water. Eat a little bit of something. Take some time to journal as soon as you can. I hope this has renewed and strengthened your spirit, and I hope you have found a deeper connection. And I hope that you move towards the future, wiser and trusting that you are incredible, strong, wise, and free to live, free to grow and learn and evolve. You are sacred. And with that, our time ends. We give thanks to the ancestors. May you ever walk with us, guiding us and protecting us. Hail and merry part. We give thanks to the spirits that joined us. May there ever be peace between us. Hail and merry part. And we give thanks to the gods that they accompanied us and made their presence known. Hail and merry part. Shieth ben Shiana, may it be 9 times eternal. And I give thanks to all of you who have joined me today. Hail to you and merry part.